The planet of the lonely crowd has dawned. The masses relentlessly curate their own image on social media. Yet they have nothing to say. They are empty, hollow, fake, yet crave connection with others. They are not people. They are people impersonators. People now spend their time delivering, via social media, a continuous stream of consciousness, a never-ending commentary on what they are doing or feeling. Who cares? Do they even care? Blaise Pascal said, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." To avoid the vacuum, the masses gravitate to social media, which is, ironically, just the cyber vacuum. Nietzsche said, "You must be ready to burn yourself in your own flame. How could you rise anew if you have not first become ashes?" You won't find anyone on social media saying anything like that. Infinite monkeys typing forever couldn't come up with something as good as that. Social media is a reflection of infinite monkeys typing randomly until doomsday. With cell phones, Twitter, Facebook, instant cameras, emailing, texting, sexting, subtexting, people spew out a ceaseless torrent of self-glorification, self-analysis, self-justification, self-congratulations, self-aggrandizement, self-promotion, self-deception, self-interest, selfishness, and just self. To what end? Are they worth it? Who cares? This obsessive preoccupation with the self prevents people from learning, reading, studying, creating, achieving. They just natter and yammer endlessly and meaninglessly. Drone, drone, drone? Moan, moan, moan. No shine, all whine. The world is undergoing a mental health pandemic. The hidden madness is now in our face. Overwhelmingly, people are small-minded and obsessed with other people, and especially gossip and speculation about these other people. Neither ideas nor events occupy their tiny minds in any significant way. Look at how much time people spend reflecting on celebrities, monarchs, influencers and so on, and how little time they spend reflecting on difficult subjects full of ideas, such as philosophy, mathematics, and science. Always remember the famous meme, great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, small minds discuss people. The discussion of ideas is exactly what is absent from social media. Social media is the naked lunch. It shows exactly what average people are interested in, people. And especially gossip about famous people. People relate to others via which stars they mutually worship. They don't connect over ideas. The average mind is all about people, about the average person's feelings and thoughts about people. The psyche, for most people, is directed exclusively at other people and doesn't care about anything else. People would rather die than think about ideas. How would that help them to worship some vacuous influencer or vacant celebrity? There are people who arrange their entire lives around the dead streams scheduled by their favorite influencer, to whom they give all their money via super chats, and all the rest of it. People compete to get their influencer to write their name on a whiteboard, for getting especially far up his ass. Can you imagine? That's why it's so hard for intellectuals to gain any traction in this world. Intellectuals are devoted to ideas, but average people have no interest in ideas. Absolutely none. They are all about personalities, the more famous the better. The average human has a compulsion to kneel to more famous people and worship them. Malignant narcissists rely on this for their entire shtick. Only conscious beings are interested in big questions and big answers, and, even then, only a tiny fraction of conscious people, the intelligentsia, are genuinely interested. The rest are much more concerned with everyday life. They think of nothing else. As the nature of consciousness changes, so does the nature of the questions and the answers. Ancient humans used religion to pose the big questions and big answers, then some turned to philosophy and some to spirituality, and then some to science. The ultimate intelligentsia turned to mathematics. The big questions and big answers framed mathematically are nothing like those framed religiously, spiritually, philosophically, or scientifically. Humanity simply isn't a species geared up for true, analytic explanations. It doesn't want them. It's a species all about stories. It's all mythos and no logos. People regard stories as explanations. There must be species on alien worlds who did not develop storytelling logic, but instead became supreme practitioners of analytic logic. Those species have become gods. The storytellers will never attain divinity. Stories aren't reality. The reason why religions are so hopeless compared to mathematics, science and philosophy is that religions are just man-made stories and have nothing to do with any kind of reality. They are successful because people don't want reality. They want fantasy. Humanity would perish without stories. Isn't that remarkable? Almost as soon as humanity had language, it started telling stories. Only cultural evolution, and in fact a very specific cultural evolution, namely that of the culture of the intelligentsia, and not of the ordinary people, evolves with respect to the truth. It may make mistakes, even big mistakes en route, but at least the truth is esteemed by it. It's not disgraced, as it is by social media, the pixelated avalanche of drivel. Most human beings have no interest in the truth. They want to believe whatever lies comfort and reassure them. Their culture is associated with the evolution of the lie, as we especially see with religion and spirituality. These false systems are regarded as the highest truth by the masses. The bigger the story, the more it is believed. God is the biggest story of all, the supreme lie. God is the average human liar infinitely magnified, so that he does nothing but lie. When you look at the world's religions and spiritual systems, it's extraordinary the lengths to which they go to avoid explaining anything at all. There is no science, no mathematics, and no philosophy in any of the world's religions and spiritual systems. There are plenty of stories and interpretations and extrapolations of stories. There's plenty of faith, mysticism, and emotionalism. There's no reason and logic. The mythos masses just can't get the hang of reason. Only stories make sense to them. We are all part of a vast constellation of minds, and our individual mind is simply the one that refers to itself as I and tells a continuous story about itself via language. This story is the greatest fiction of all time. We are not in charge. We are subject to complexes and archetypes that we know nothing about, but which pull all of our strings and know where all the bodies are buried. They press all of our buttons. They say, jump, and we jump. They are our inner demons, and they are in charge. It's not a case of people being possessed by demons. Rather, people are possessed by the unconscious. Is consciousness autonomous, or the puppet of the unconscious? America is full of people archetypally possessed and falling victim to inflation and mania. The storming of the Capitol was carried out by people who had lost their conscious minds and become purely the vehicles of unconscious forces. Thinking is the intellectual function, driven by coherence. It seeks to connect ideas with each other in order to understand the nature of the world and solve the problems of the world. People don't want to think. They don't like thinking. They don't seek coherence. They are double dealers and double thinkers. People want to feel, to sense, to have mystical intuitions. They struggle as soon as they are asked to use reason and logic. That's why they hate mathematics, philosophy and science. If you want to become a hero, a Superman, you must integrate the mana personality, the personality of power. You must want to be a hero, a Superman. Most people don't. Most people want to be led. They are instinctive submissives. Anyone who succeeds in integrating their mana personality enriches their life with a wisdom that is not accessible to the conscious intellect but instead comes from the deep unconscious. We might see it in terms of the profoundest intuition. Will anyone ever get to know the real you? Will you yourself even achieve it? Who are you? Do you care? No wonder the ancient Greeks inscribed over the forecourt of Apollo's temple at Delphi the momentous words "Know thyself." Sadly, almost no one does. Even worse, they don't want to. They subscribe to "Don't know thyself, don't be thyself, don't become thyself." Always do what society expects. Pythagoras, named in honor of Apollo, the god of reason, music, mathematics, philosophy, science, astronomy, medicine, and poetry, was the first human being to see the cosmic importance of mathematics, and this remains the central insight of Illuminism. We need to transition to a humanity of Gnostics, people of knowledge. Knowledge, not belief, must become the great power in the world. Reality isn't human. It isn't based on human interpretations of human sensory experiences. It's based on reason and logic. It's mathematical. We are rationalists. We rely on reason and logic, which deliver analytic precision and certainty. Humans take their man-made model of reality to be reality. The religious take their man-made religions to be reality. The spiritual take their man-made mystical mumbo-jumbo to be reality. Humanity detached itself from reality long, long ago. More or less as soon as humanity became conscious, it created a fake, man-made reality, and, ever since, reality has been vanishing, at an ever-accelerating speed. The world of the internet and social media, with all of its manipulated messages, images and videos, its filters, its memes, its never-ending mirroring of the mirrored image, has more or less consigned reality to oblivion. Consciousness made humanity the most powerful species on Earth, and also made it the most deluded species on Earth, believing in a totally false model of reality. You must transcend your species, not indulge its failings and delusions. Every species has exactly the same means to liberate itself, reason and logic. The task of the ego is to have a healthy relationship with the persona and to come to terms with the shadow, soul image, mana personality, and, finally, to enter into union with the self. If it succeeds, it becomes God. Consciousness is the greatest transformative power in the universe, but, of course, you need to know what consciousness is in order to be truly transformed by it, to maximize it, to become God. Humanity will not live happily ever after. Its stupidity will kill it. Ignorance is fatal. Don't fall for humanity's bullshit. That means you have to totally abandon human feelings, beliefs, opinions, hopes, dreams, paranoid fears, stories, perceptions, mystical intuition, and so on. Reality thinks with crystal clear rationality and logic about itself. It is never distracted by human nonsense, by human neuroses, psychoses, fears, terrors, dreads, anxieties, hopes, dreams. Earth is the universe's mythos planet, the planet of far-fetched stories, the planet of impossible gods, mad prophets, saints and sinners, angels and demons. Earth, Planet Z, is also Planet Maya, the planet of illusions, delusions, mirages, hallucinations, fantasies, dreams, everything except reality. Money is power, and power is control. The whole of American culture revolves around mammon. Yet the Americans are the ungodliest people on earth. It's time to end the rule of mammon, the false god, yet humanity's true god. Look around you. Money rules everything. Shouldn't the people rule? The army of Mammon operates on behalf of the private elites, funneling more and more money to them. The rich get richer and screw everyone else. The rich are not like the rest of us. They see reality differently. They see through the eyes of Mammon. Most people serve Mammon. The rich are Mammon's avatars. They are the devil's advocates, in the worst possible sense. When will you serve something other than money? When will you make a new god? Is Mammon the best you can do? Is that it for humanity? It's time for new gods. We ourselves shall create them. That's what Prometheans and Faustians do. The only people who can change the game are the Logos species. That's our solemn purpose, our sacred destiny. That's the conundrum we must solve. The fate of humanity is at stake. There are no hiding places. Everyone must commit. We need to destroy the master-slave dialectic. No more masters, and no more slaves. The mythos species can never achieve this because their key narrative is exactly that of master and slave, that of the law of the jungle. We need a new narrative, and the only people who can construct it are the Logos species. The future of humanity depends on the Logos species replacing the mythos species as the dominant force in our world. This is a no-brainer. The mythos species has no brain, and people with brains must not let themselves be dragged down by the brainless and the brain dead, by the flatline gang of mythos idiots and believers. Smart people must escape from the gullible, credulous, superstitious masses. The true God is the God of mathematics. The false God, the father of lies, the devil, is the God of stories, fiction, fabrication, lies, confabulation. The true God uses numbers, formulae, reason, and logic. The false God uses words, holy books, stories, emotions, unreason, and illogic. The mythos God, Satan, is the god of the stupid. Pythagoras was an exclusivist. He wanted to surround himself only with the intelligent, and to exclude all of the stupid. That remains the position of the Pythagorean Illumikoi to this day. We don't care what race you are, what sex you are, what your sexuality is, we do, however, absolutely care about your intelligence. We have no stupid people in our ranks. We don't want any people who pray, any people who engage in religious meditation, any superstitious people, any believers, any kneelers, any bowers, any people who worship God. We exclude all irrationalists, all enemies of reason and logic, all those who promote anarchy and mindless liberty. No one in a wise society is at liberty to indulge their base, appetitive selves, to do whatever they want, whenever they want. Only babies, people who haven't grown up and haven't acquired a superego, believe in that kind of freedom. Malignant narcissists are so disturbing because they are babies in adult bodies. People of the mind locate themselves beyond matter. People of the body do not. They are preoccupied with bodily, bestial things, the stuff of antinosis. Plato spoke of the masses being ruled by their animal appetites and desires. We are the people ruled by the new. We are higher humanity, approaching the gods. You are lower humanity, approaching the cockroaches. You are so undarkened. You are savages. The biggest joke of all is that so many of you claim to be on an inward spiritual journey to enlightenment. Funny that you are so preoccupied with outward things, with external appearance. We are the Illumikoi. We are the Hyperboreans. We are the Prometheans. We are the Faustians. We are the Gnostics. We are the enlightened ones. We are the coming race of the mind. We are not the slaves of our bodies and our physical appearance, and our materialist genetic traits. We have surpassed our genes. We are monads made of eternal energy. We have seen the light, and the light is pure math. The mathematikoi don't give a damn about physicality. We are here to perfect the mind. Human biological evolution has ended. The evolution of the mind has just begun. You are either for us, the truth, or you're against us, in which case you support the lie.